Hey, my name is Vanessa Rochelle Lewis, and I am the author of Reclaiming Ugly, a radically joyful guide to uplift, glorify, and love yourself. I am so excited to be celebrating Fat Liberation Month with NAPA. Woo! And I'm wearing my super cute fat Cupid earrings for it from Wild Fancy. Mwah. Reclaiming ugly is a hug for people who have experienced uglification, who have been made to feel like they are less than because of how they look, what they weigh, how their body functions, what they believe, how they exist in the world. It's a hug, it's an apology, it's a guide for how we can heal and release the trauma of being uglified. It's also a call to action for us to create the changes we need so that we can exist in a society where all people, all bodies are welcomed, loved, safe, and protected. It explores what ugliness is, how it functions in our society, how it's impacted us, and how we could say goodbye and reclaim what it means to be full and free in our body. Personally, I identify as ugly to the patriarchy, and I am damn proud because it means that I love myself regardless of what those negative forces have tried to convince me to believe about my body, my identity, and my community. I was inspired to write this book after a slew of social media posts that weren't related to each other just popped up on Facebook and TikTok using photos of myself to insinuate that I was an ugly Black woman. I researched one of these photos and saw that my picture was used as the main Google search image for an article about why Black men should go to college and meet non-Black women who were more beautiful, more feminine, more intelligent, and more kind than Black women. At this point, you could Google search ugly Black women, and my face was the second photo to pop up. All the other photos that popped up were of fat Black women, dark-skinned Black women, disabled Black women, and Black women who were clearly in some sort of crises. I realized that the way that we talk about ugly is deeply connected to ableism, misogyny, colorism, classism, and other forms of oppression. I was like, yo, this is something we really need to talk about. I grew up being called ugly by so many different people. People who sometimes looked like me, who had parents and siblings who looked like me. As an adult, I recognized that when they were calling me ugly, they were also actually telling me about how they were impacted by white supremacy. I wrote this book to fight back against white supremacy and the way that it has colonized our imagination. I wrote this book to fight back against patriarchy and the way that it has taught us to hate ourselves and judge other people. I wrote this book for all the people who have been called ugly at some point in their life as a reminder that we are valuable and sacred, and if we want to be, beautiful. Uglification is when we choose to look at ourselves, another person, a group of people, a part of our identity, and identify it as ugly. I believe that ugliness is the most colonized faction of our imagination. So it's when we're looking at other people through a colonial gaze of hate, of pain, of fear, of scarcity, and judging them and labeling them. We do it to ourselves, we do it to the people we love, we do it to our enemies. Uglification is also used to justify horrific political actions. Uglification is used to justify laws that police and criminalize people for using substances, for being poor or houseless, for being disabled and being in need of resources. Uglification is used to justify war. We're currently in the midst of seeing the most horrific genocide in Palestine. Our politicians are uglifying pro-Palestinian activists by claiming that they are xenophobic, by claiming that they are anti-democratic, when in reality, these are just very compassionate people who believe that all people should live and should not experience genocide. We see uglification when doctors look at our fat bodies and say, oh, the only thing that's wrong with you is that you're overweight, rather than actually listening to our ailments and figuring out how they can support us to heal, to be okay, to live as fully as we possibly can. An example of uglification: I went to my little sister's son's birthday party. He was turning 2, my baby nephew. And as soon as I went outside to eat, my brother pulls up on me and he says, "Are you really gonna eat that pizza?" He was uglifying food. He was uglifying my fat body. He was insinuating that because I look the way that I look, I shouldn't have access to the food that's around me. He was shaming me. So many of us uglify ourselves by thinking that we don't deserve love until we change our bodies, by thinking we don't deserve fair treatment until we shift something about ourselves so that we can be more beautiful and more acceptable in the patriarchal ideal of what is valuable in a human body. My argument is that we are all valuable right here, right now, regardless of what we look like or how our bodies function. Fat Liberation Month is important to me because fat people deserve access. Fat people deserve access to fully enjoying the world. That means living in a world without ridicule, without constant shame, without discrimination, without trying to access services that weren't made for us and that weren't made for our bodies. We deserve to be able to enjoy our families without being critiqued, without being put down. We deserve to be able to go to amusement parks and enjoy the rides, to get on the bus and feel safe and comfortable and have a seat, to go to work and have our needs met, to not be discriminated by employers because of our size, to not be discriminated against in film and media, in any industry. We deserve representation. We deserve to be able to see ourselves as artists, as teachers, as politicians, as healers, as thinkers. We deserve a world where we are safe and free, and that is what we fight for 365, 24/7. But this month is our month to shine, to sparkle, to speak up. And there are so many activists who are doing an extraordinary job. That is why I am so grateful for NAFA. NAFA has actually changed my life in an extraordinary way. Maybe it was about 10 years ago, my mother went to an event where NAFA was facilitating a workshop. It was her first introduction to fat liberation outside of me asking for her and my family to treat different. It radicalized her. It shifted her. Now, she has had some work to do, as we all do, as I do, but she has since become one of my greatest allies. She has learned how to support me, how to uplift me, how to listen to me, how to advocate for me, and she does it for herself as a fat woman. It's so beautiful to see my mom sparkle and shine in her body, and for her to support me to sparkle and shine in my body. NAFA has made extraordinary changes to our political landscape and to my own little realm of life, and I am beyond grateful. I love you, NAFA. Mwah! Also, my little chubby earrings love you too. Mwah, mwah, mwah. This is from the very first chapter, An Introduction to Uglification, and it's from a short section called You Can Choose to Embrace Ugliness. Ugliness doesn't have to be an insult or monstrous, nor does it need to be another person's oppressive and entitled opinion about our bodies. Reject other people's opinions about what is and isn't ugly. Ignore and disengage from them. Let them have their opinion and know that it has nothing to do with you. There are so many strands of color in the universe, and we as individuals get to decide how we want to play with them. We can decide today that embracing ugliness solely means rejecting the patriarchy and all of the violent, judgmental, and exclusive things the patriarchy does with its power. We can decide that we no longer consent to other people's ugly standards and explore other ways to be in relationship with ourselves, other people, and the world that holds us all alive and sacred. Embracing ugliness is a political, personal, and deeply spiritual practice of choosing every day, every moment, to reject the pressure of who you are expected to be and explore what feels good, pleasurable right now for you. Embracing ugliness is not societal reform, nor is it social justice. It's taking the agency with the strategies and materials we have right now to create the world we want to experience. It's recognizing the cultural behaviors and values of the world, exploring how we want to be treated in the world and how we want to experience our lives, and centering that experience in the moment. If we want to be treated with respect, we don't make the people around us change themselves. We remove from our world anyone who disrespects us. That might take time. You might have to become an adult first if you are a child. Find another job. Explore a strategy to escape safely. Change the people you pursue, or examine how you understand respect and how you treat others. But the first step is embracing the fact that you deserve better than what you are experiencing, that you don't have to improve yourself first to earn the better you deserve, and that no one's opinion about your worth or how you should be yourself matters, unless, again, your way of being is hateful, then other people's opinion matters. Erase the hate, homie. Thanks so much for listening to my talk, listening to this little section of my book, supporting NAFA, supporting Fat Liberation Month, and just being a good-ass human being. That's our goal. That's what this book is about. Being the kind of person that creates safety for yourself and for other people. Remember, ugly stands for uplift, glorify, love yourself, and create a world where everyone else can as well. You've got the power. You've got the power. Bye.